Doing good. It's Thursday. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Does it feel like Thursday to you guys, or? I don't know. It went by fast. Yeah, I know. To me, it feels like it should be Friday.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right? Yep. Yes. It's fun to have YWAM as family. Isn't it cool that you can like come to a place and like barely meet a person, but you already have something in common with them? It just, man, the longer and longer that I'm with this tribe, I'm like, wow, this is so fun. I mean, when you guys met me a couple weeks ago, that was the first time I've been to Amsterdam. I'd never been here, and I just walk in and I'm like, yeah, different building, but whoa, all right, these people, I kind of, I feel like we've got some connection point, and yeah, so it's really, I think it'll be awesome when the DTS gets back, and I know some of you guys just graduated your DTS, so you'll probably have some flashbacks when they come back and they share some of their stories, and you'll be like, oh, that's right. I remember like getting out there and being nervous about that, but then God just totally took care of it, and yeah, so so that's gonna be really fun when they come back, and now that you guys have prayed for them, you've like invested in their outreach too, and so that makes it even more real. So excited to be with you guys again today. Yeah, God's got some more good stuff for us this morning. And yeah, Erin told me at least her group, she wasn't able to finish 2 Kings. Did anyone finish 2 Kings? Okay, yeah, all right. A few of you guys. I am very impressed that you finished it. Yeah, yeah. No worries on those that didn't finish it. I think that's, yeah, I mean, you're going to do that today, so no problem. And yeah, in a moment, I will ask you guys, like, I don't know, what you guys noticed from what you read yesterday. So, but before I do that, I have a video that I want to share. Just waiting for PowerPoint to, get its, there we go. Yeah, it's got to warm up. Yeah, so I have a video I want to share with you guys, and it happens, I think, a little bit too fast. So I want to tell you what it's about so that you kind of know what you're about to watch. Well, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. You've been there, cool. I have not yet. But it's a museum that is dedicated to the Bible. And it's only been open, I think, for maybe the last 5 years or something like that. So it's a pretty new museum. YWAM has partnered with them in putting on some different Bible exhibitions. But I have a question for you guys. Have you ever thought about how we have this like in our hands? Have you ever thought about the people that made it possible to have this in our hands today? There's been lots and lots of people that have died so that we could have this in our hands today. Especially, I mean, of course, I'm an English speaker, so I think about people that have oh my goodness, my name, the name's going blank in my head right now, but Tyndale, who who died on a stake, was burned to death because he was trying to translate the Bible into English, and the king didn't like it, so he burned him to death, and and so there, it didn't always look like this, so beautifully put together. I'm sure you guys have already talked about it didn't always have chapters, didn't always have verses. It wasn't always binded up like this. It was on huge scrolls, and man, to produce one of those scrolls, that took money, a lot of money, just for one scroll, one book. It took a lot of time because people had to literally handwrite it. And there's a lot of people that in history that have not wanted scripture to be available for people. And so this video that I'm going to show you guys is just like a very short, and I will say that it is focused a little bit on America. It's an American clip, but you can translate it for whichever country you are. That it's a privilege that we have the Bible in our language, and that we're able to hold on to it, and that I can just have it on my phone or put this in my bag. Okay, so we'll watch this and then go from there. Yeah, so not only, yeah, I mean, this, that not only have people like died for us to be able to have this, it's like, whoa, man, this, they saw it. They saw like how much God's story was going to impact society, impact families, impact governments, impact medicine, education, and yeah, and so I just think it's incredible, especially as we this week are really looking at legacy of what will be our legacy, and we'll get to it a little bit later too. But yeah, our legacies should be like founded on this. Like this should be a core part of our message and what we build our life and our society on. So yeah, a little bit of a dramatized kind of video here, but I think that it gets just a really awesome message across, and yeah, hopefully you guys see that too. So okay, so anyone have thoughts on that? Just yeah. I don't know if you guys have thought about that, or I don't know if you guys have talked much as a class about the history of the Bible or something like that, but it's a really interesting to look into. Yeah. Okay. Today, before we roll in today, we want to do a little bit of a review. Then we're going to start to look at the kings of Israel. We're going to look at Ahab, Elisha, and I'm going to say Elisha. That's the German. I don't know how the Germans say it, but I feel like how do you guys say it in Germany? Yeah, Elisha. It just helps you guys kind of know who I'm talking about, Elijah and Elisha. Okay. And we might get further than that. If we do, then we're going to start to roll into some of the kings of Judah. So, but we'll just see how we go today. But before we jump into that, I would love to hear what did you guys like pick up in your reading yesterday? Did you guys have any interesting discussions together, or yeah, I would love to just hear. Ansley.
I noticed a repetitive pattern of people that were like, it was either they did what was evil in the Lord's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
or it was they did good in the Lord's eyes, but they didn't break down the pagan altars and the and all of that, and that just kept on happening over and over and over, and it's like they were almost there, and then they just didn't hit the marks.
Right.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so frustrating. And then they go, and the rest of their reign is in the book of the kingdom of Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
Israel, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But,
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's so close. Yeah. So close. Yeah. Uh-huh. Good observation. What else were you guys noticing, or?
With like because I mean I've read Kings before, but even with like the background information that we already got from you, like Syrians and how evil they were and that like they conquered the land, I just like read it so differently, and then also the way the Syrian king threatened Hezekiah. Yeah. And then maybe also like questioning their God and their faith, and then Hezekiah being faithful though.
Yeah.
Like, actually consulting God, not giving and like, oh yeah, you're so right. Like, what do I even believe in?
Yeah.
But to be like, I am still gonna ask God for help, and then God completely like does it by himself. Like he's the one who defeats the Syrians.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Hey, when you do see people, the kings turn to the Lord, it's like, yes, and of course God comes through, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, speaking of the Bible, how at the end, I think it's with Hezekiah and Josiah, they discover this scrolls.
Yeah.
And so obviously they've just been lost. They lost the Bible, they lost God's word. or
Yeah.
quit reading it. They
Yep.
didn't even realize that it existed.
Yeah.
They stumbled upon it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I find it interesting sometimes to think about how the people, that I'm reading about, and that, let's say I'm reading Kings, it's like, okay, what do they have and what don't they have? It's like, okay, they should have, the Torah, they should have the law, but they don't have anything past, of course, where they're at, like in history. So it's like, okay, they don't have Nehemiah, they don't have Matthew, they don't have Paul's writings, and it's like, okay, all right, yeah, but they should have had the Torah, they should have had the law, but yeah, it looks like they forgot about it. So, yep. Okay, what else did you guys notice? Anything else stick out to you guys, or any other interesting themes, or
I just love all the miracles that have been happening, like in these past 2 books, like God's just really like revealing himself, like raising people from the dead, and like
Yes.
even when like he hears like Hezekiah's like prayer of like how he was obedient to the Lord, and he's like, oh, I heard your prayer and I've seen your tears, and then he like allows him like these extra like 15 years, and
Yeah.
just like all these miraculous things like happening, even like in all this like brokenness and despair and disobedience, like the Lord is still like so faithful to move.
Yeah. Oh, glad you're catching that. Yeah. Yeah, I think before I picked up the Bible and started reading it, like I kind of thought that miracles were like something of like the New Testament. Like that it, I don't know, started like, just with Jesus or something like that. But there's stuff happening for sure. Yep. Okay, any other thoughts?
The same thing happened to Josiah also. So Josiah, when he heard from the Shaphan something, and he tore his cloth, and God told him that, no, don't worry, so I don't destroy, so as long as you are with them.
Yeah. Yeah, so he turned to God, and so God was like, I'm not going to destroy you. Yeah. 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 So good. Leah, did you have something, or no?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I just also like about Elijah and Elisha. It's written in the Bible. Like for Elijah, it's like 7 miracles, and then Elisha asked for like the double anointing, and it's written like 14 stories about him. And just like it's crazy how much like even the small details we can see like 7 miracles, 14 miracles, 1 anointing, double anointing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Cool.
I also love chapter 4. We had the SIVs, but like seeing God displaying himself, like with the widow who has only olive oil.
Yeah.
It's the same as like Jesus on the mountain and that boy having only his like 2 fish something. But like to see God the same, performing the same miracle.
Yes.
It's just so like wow. I like that.
Yeah, and I personally have not really looked a lot into it, but I think that if you are interested in, you could look at where some of these miracles took place, and you would notice that they're in similar places that Jesus also did similar miracles. So, yeah.
That's what I noticed about Elijah and Elisha, that talks about Gilgal, Bethel, the Jordan River, all places talked about, and Jericho, all places talked about, and Joshua's story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some bridges there, for sure. So, maps, woo! Get out those maps, start looking at them. What can you guys tell me about what we talked about yesterday with the divided kingdom, and just tell me a little bit about about what happened there, or yeah.
You got it. You know it.
Yeah, just tell me how'd that happen? I don't know, like, what did it look like?
I think it's because of Rehoboam and just like how much he was prideful, and because of it, it divided like the country,
Mm-hmm.
like the kingdom in two parts, Israel and Judah, north and south. And that in Israel every kings were evil, and in Judah some of them were,
Yeah,
others not.
yeah, yeah. That's good.
Also,
Cool.
I was surprised that they have one king, one queen for some years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, she wasn't
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she wasn't great, but yeah, she was a little cray-cray.
It's also interesting to see how Israel had 9 dynasties, while Judah only had one, and it was David, just like the Lord promised David that there would always be someone from his descendants on the throne.
Yeah.
And while Israel was taken into exile at, I want to say 722 BC, Judah made it a lot longer till 586 BC, and
Yeah.
it's like a mixture of like, it's just interesting to see because God even tells the people because they had a king that was actually wholehearted, like worshiping God, that he wouldn't take them into exile until all those people died. Like
Yeah.
they did right, and so they didn't have to go to exile.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, nice, Michelle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else have something that they remember about the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, or that they found interesting?
I just love that story with the queen and then that the priest like hid. What was his name?
Joash
Joash.
and Jehoiada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he like Jehoiada's character. I just want to do like
Yeah.
a whole profile character like thing on like Jehoiada,
Yeah.
and like I don't know. I just think it's really cool how he kind of, in a way, took the kingdom in his own hands secretly behind the queen,
Yeah.
and like hid this heir
Yeah.
in Judah.
Yeah.
Like, and then like basically anoints him and is like, this is your next king, and everybody's like, long live the king. And he's like, what, 12 years old or 8 years old or something? Like
Yeah.
super young. I just love that story.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like what Michelle was saying with it's crazy, you know, that the Southern Kingdom, that Judah just had the line of David, right? Whereas the Northern Kingdom kept switching up. It's crazy how many times, if you start to really read through like the detail and think about what, like implicationally what that means, how many times it was so close that all of the sons of David, not literally David, but the heirs, were like almost all killed, but one was like saved, you know. So it's there was a few times where it would have just completely been lost if it wasn't for people like Jehoiada the priest. So yeah.
I also think it's interesting or wonder because Israel was taken into exile by the Assyrians that had that strategy of scattering them, which made them basically turn into Assyrians and not come back. So if Judah would have been taken into exile by Assyria, we'd never know if Judah would still exist, which was so key so that Jesus can come out of that line.
Totally. Yeah, God's mercy. And God's mercy to not have them all wiped out by the Assyrians. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Great connection. Cool. Okay. We're going to move on to an activity. Oh yeah. We've got a lot more kings of Israel than this, okay? So I just want to preface and just say that these are not all the kings of Israel, but These ones are going to give us a little bit of a picture of what that northern kingdom was like. Okay? So what I'm going to do is get you guys into groups and give you a king. And you're going to read about that king and make sure that you look at both Kings and 2 Chronicles just to see if there's something written about them in 2 Chronicles. And you're going to make a story, like as if you were to post a story on Instagram, okay? And then we're going to share with each other. So what would this king's Instagram story look like, okay? Is basically what we're doing. What would this king's story look like, okay? Yeah, or if you want to do a TikTok, whatever, I don't know. Okay, so, all right. So I think we'll do those groups that you guys were in yesterday. So you guys, and then that's 4 groups. Yeah, and then. Linda, why don't you? Yeah, I think maybe the staff and Linda. Is that okay? Are you right with that? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll do Anna, Nadab, Basha. Sam will do Elah. Bex will do Zimri, and Linda and crew are going to do Omri. Yeah? You got to look for them. Yeah. Get used to finding them.
So we have Basha. Are we supposed to actually
Yeah.
neither of us have it.
Just do a video.